Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. If you follow video game news at all, you probably have seen some negative reaction to the trailer that Konami released for Silent Hill 2. I don't remember exactly when. It was in the last couple weeks, I think this trailer came out. And one of the things that people have been concerned about is that the trailer for a game that many people feel is one of the best horror games that's ever been made was very combat heavy, and that really wasn't the point of the original game. And so a lot of people, and the development team has come out and said that the trailer was not representative of what the game is. Konami, of course, has a very bad track record at managing their IP or doing anything that isn't just trying to squeeze money out of any name recognition. So it's difficult to know if what we saw in that trailer was an accurate representation of what the game will look like. If they have, we've seen this with the Resident Evil remakes. I'm not comparing Capcom to Konami, but there have been changes to the games that some people have not been happy with. I've enjoyed Resident Evil Remake 2 and 3. I thought they were great. I played the originals. I had no problem with the things that were edited, cut, and changed, but there were purists who didn't like that. And I wonder if there is some aspect of that when it comes to Silent Hill 2. And if this is a byproduct of the fact that it is very hard to separate the nostalgia that we have for formative games. You could say this about movies, music, whatever you want. It's often very difficult to accept any type of variation or anything outside of what, in our imagination, a perfect rejuvenation of something. Boy, that's a lot of R words and a lot of Asians. Sorry about that. It wasn't intentional. But I sometimes wonder if we map what we ideally would want to happen onto what is actually possible and what is realistic. Which is not to say that I think Silent Hill 2 should be a combat-heavy game. I understand the criticism. I think in this case it's well-founded. There's a lot of suspicion towards Konami, which I think Konami has more than earned. So I understand where the concerns have come from. I'm not saying that they're wrong. But I also look at some of the stuff that people have complained about. Again, to go back to the Resident Evil remakes, where especially with 3, a lot of people were very unhappy at some of the edits in that game, that there were sections that were missing. And I honestly thought the game played very well. Would just remaking the original game with a new graphical style really satisfy people? I don't think it would. And I think there are going to be compromises, edits. Games are much different now to make than they used to be. It's a lot more money, especially if you look at those Capcom, the remake engines. They're beautiful, beautiful games. And so some things are going to be changed. Some things are going to be altered. And there is going to be a difference if you don't have the original team making everything with unlimited resources. There may be others who think that alterations to what some people consider the most important parts of the game are just going to be unacceptable, whereas new eyes, younger people who didn't have that original experience may look at it differently. Even if you play the original game as it was perfectly preserved, if you weren't playing it at the time, you're going to have a different sensibility to it. And again, I don't say this to mean that I think that Silent Hill 2 should suddenly become a running gun or some kind of tunnel shooter. But it is, I think, I've noticed this with myself. I notice it with a lot of other people, especially when there's internet commentary involved, that people are unable to understand that some things are going to evolve. That doesn't necessarily mean those evolutions are good or bad, but they are a byproduct of times changing. Could Silent Hill 2 have ever been remade in a modern context in a way that would satisfy people? I don't know. I don't know if it would be enough to just polish it up. I think there have to be changes because younger players play games differently. And, it's nice to say, oh, we'll sell it to the hardcore fans. They'll be enough to sell it. Well, maybe they will and maybe they won't. Anybody who's trying to sell something is going to try to sell it to as many people as possible. So, again, this isn't to say that people who reacted to this very strongly are wrong or right. It's just interesting to think about whether any of these things that we remember in a certain way can ever really be revisited in the same way outside of the original way that we experienced them at the time that we did. I can go back and play Deus Ex constantly, but it's never going to be the same way as the first time I played it, because at that time there was nothing like it. I had never played a game like it. Playing it now, I still love it, but that initial sense of just being blown away by how different the game is, that's just not there anymore. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. Doesn't mean I don't have fun. Doesn't mean I don't put HD texture packs into it when I, play it in a modern way. But it will never be the same as the first time that I played it. Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil, these are all the same way. So I'm just curious, especially for fans of Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill the series, let me know, can this ever be remade in a way that would satisfy you? Later.